Hey guys, um, so crazy, unthinkable. Well, unless you're an Alabama fan, crazy, unthinkable happened. Georgia lost. Whoops. Um, and now the chaos has begun. Right now, Michigan is beating Iowa, I think, and they're winning 10-0. It was halftime. And then Florida State is winning against Louisville, which was a little surprised about. They're winning by 3. So at halftime, all they've been able to do is score 3. They're playing with the third string quarterback. I I think even like the fact that it's 3-0 at halftime already should show Florida State is not that team. They have a fantastic defense. Their defense is amazing. One of the top, if not the top, as far as for defense. But you can't. You gotta have some offense. You gotta have a quarterback, and it's. I'm actually really feeling somewhat bad for Florida State because I don't see any way for Florida State to stay in the college football playoff. They could have 2 touchdowns. They could even have 3 touchdowns. And I don't think that's enough. I quite honestly don't think that's enough. If Florida State doesn't just somehow obliterate Louisville in the second half, I mean, like by win by 35-0, 40-0. I don't see I don't see a reason how they could be in the playoffs. And that's crazy to think. But I just don't. I mean, with Alabama beating Georgia, they beat the number one team in the nation. That has been consistently the number one team in the nation. Um, and I mean, Alabama was up by 10. I wish that Alabama held at 10 because that would be so much better as far as for the arguments, as far as for the playoffs. There's no way Washington or Michigan get taken off the playoffs. If that were to happen, the committee is absolutely nuts. In yeah, but I'm gonna be honest. I think Alabama's in at 4, and Texas is in at 3. And if it goes any other way, I'm not even going to bother watching the playoffs because, as far as it stands, I mean, basically it means the number one team in the country that lost to Alabama. But you can't really argue that. But the best team, previous champs, lost to Alabama. Alabama lost to Texas. And yeah, that happened, but that was early on in the season. They didn't have like third week, like they were still trying to even figure out the quarterback situation. Like they were still trying to find their ground. It's a different team, totally different team that has progressed. I mean, shoot, even if needed, like I think if Alabama were to play Texas now, without a doubt, Alabama would win. I'm actually trying to think. I think Michigan could be Alabama. I think Washington could possibly be Alabama. But there, without a doubt, Florida State would not win at all. I don't think Texas would win. Obviously, Georgia, I don't think they would win. They just lost. And that's the other thing is this loss is huge for Georgia, and it stings. I mean, I've looked at playoffs and I've looked at like, even for national championship games. Like once again, look at the Alabama LSU. Everybody was saying, no, it shouldn't be Alabama. Alabama already lost. And then Alabama played LSU, and Alabama beat LSU for the national championship. I don't think you can really rule out Alabama. I don't think so. I might be a little biased, obviously, but I don't. And if they rule out Alabama, what does that say about the playoffs? What's it even say about the playoffs this year? To me, it means nothing. It means we will never know who the best team is if you're leaving out Alabama, a team that kind of beat Georgia, who they were losing to Georgia, and then they kind of really controlled the game. Um, you can't really. I don't see any way of them getting ruled out. Just looking at everything right now, I I don't see any way Florida State stays in the playoffs. If they do, that's it for me, at least for playoffs. And I think it's just, it's even when it goes to playoffs, 12 seed playoffs, I don't think there's hope there either. Because I think the problem is that when we had two teams going for a national championship, top two teams, we saw three, we saw four. That was all could have competed. Now we go to four. And there's arguments still with two extra spots that there are other teams that could compete. Now we go to 12 in the future. Say we're in the future, 12 team spot. But number 13 and 14 could have compete. Why don't they go in? It's going to be nonstop. It continues. What is the point of these playoffs? There has to be a standard. And I'll be 100% honest with the rankings and everything, which the committee has done. There is not a standard. They try to keep a standard of the Texas against Florida. Texas against Alabama. But then they have like Oregon State that was 15, went down to 20. They were very strong. I think that was right. For 21, I think. But then they got Florida, and that Florida State, and it just doesn't make as much sense now. You could also argue, see, Georgia had one loss at the end of the year by only 3 points. How would they drop from number one to out of it? It's the same kind of thing what you would say with Ohio State, although a lot of their games were super close. Super close. I think that Ohio State versus Notre Dame game, Notre Dame should have won. They just choked. That's what it was for Notre Dame. But yeah, it's just there's going to be an argument no matter what. And I'm basically at this point kind of expecting that there's going to be an uproar. And I gotta say, Florida State's in. that's going to cause a crazy amount of pissed off people that are going to be very upset, and there's going to be absolutely utter chaos at that point, as if there isn't more. I mean, the other thing you could say is that if Alabama doesn't get into rank number 5, what bowl game do they get, and who are they going to play against? I think at that point, to play against somebody, beat them to a pulp like 40-10 or 40-20, maybe even a more bigger landslide of a win. I don't think that you could argue that the committee got that wrong, so wrong, and you never got to really see a championship game. So it's very, very tough on the committee, but I think looking at how things are going, looking at everything, halftime ended and Florida State kicked the ball. They went 3-and-out. Oh my gosh. You just gotta. I don't see any other way. And if they do it any other way, oh my gosh, it's literally them going against really the SEC. Apparently, for whatever reason, which doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, the SEC has been the number one conference for a long time. So I don't know. Anyways, have a great day. Bye.